Hey, what's up guys, and welcome to the next part of the Xbox 360 R-JTAG tutorial. So in the last part we have soldered in the chip and the QSBs, and now it's time to reassemble the Xbox 360, read the NAND and flash Xell Reloaded to get our CPU key. So now let's directly get into it. Okay, so I will start with cleaning the CPU and GPU, reapplying thermal grease and then reassembling the heatsink. You don't have to do this for reading the NAND because we don't turn on the Xbox 360 for reading the NAND. We just plug in the power supply and also there is no heat, but I would recommend to reassemble at least the heatsink, and because we will need to do this later anyway, so it doesn't matter. Okay, so what you have to do first is clean the surface of the chips. Therefore you can take a rag or kitchen roll, or you can also use a cotton pad soaked with high percentage alcohol like isopropanol to clean the chips. After the chips are clean, you have to apply a very thin layer of thermal grease. You can use your fingers or a credit card to spread the thermal grease, but be sure only to apply a thin layer. And also be sure to take a high quality thermal grease like Arctic silver or ceramic. Okay, so when you're done, it should look like this, and now it's time to take the heatsink and stick the mounts of the heatsink through the holes in the mainboard. Then you can turn the mainboard around and reapply the X clamp from the backside. So just do it as I do in the video. Okay, so when the X clamp is 100% in the correct position and the heatsink is mounted, it's time to tape down the CPU RST wire. If you don't do this, then maybe the wire gets stuck between the X clamp and the case and gets damaged. So I would recommend to tape it down. But just be sure not to over tape those holes because you will need them later. Okay, so now you do exactly the same with the second heatsink. And after that, it is time to connect the post out QSB with the ribbon cable to the R-JTAG chip if you have not done this before, and I will do this here right now. So now this is the post out QSB, which is on the back side of the board. Now you have to unlock the connector, so just pull out that black thing, then stick in the ribbon cable until it's fully in, and then just press the black thing back in, and then it is connected. And the other end needs to be connected to the R-JTAG chip. And on the other end, which is on the R-JTAG chip, it's basically the same. All you have to do is just open up that connector, so use your fingernails or a screwdriver to get out this black thing. Then you stick in the ribbon cable until it's fully in, and then you just press the black thing back in, and then it is connected. So it is that easy. And now you have to connect the R-JTAG chip to the JR-Programmer. Therefore you have to use the supplied cable which comes with the Ultimate kit. And be aware because this cable goes only in one way. So if it does not fit, try the other way and don't put too much force on it because otherwise you will maybe break the socket and you don't want to do that. And the other end goes straight directly into the JR-Programmer. Also this only goes in one way, so don't try to break the socket. And now you have to connect the Nand-x QSB and the other QSB to the JR-Programmer. Therefore use the supplied cable. And the blue connector goes to the blue socket on the Nand-x. The white connector goes to the white socket on the Nand-x. And the green connector goes to the green socket on the other QSB. I put a wall around my heart, but you're breaking it down. It falls to the ground, 'cause I had lost what you just found. The noise all around, I'm drowning it out, like we're the only ones in the crowd. 'Cause you save me now, save me now, save me now, save me now, save me now. Okay, now it's time to connect the Xbox 360 to the computer and read the NAND. Therefore you connect the power supply, but don't connect the RF board and try to turn it on, so don't turn it on. And then you connect the USB cable to the JR-Programmer, and the other end of the USB cable goes straight directly to your notebook or to your PC. Okay, so we're now on the computer, and now I hope you have connected everything correctly. And now you have to download the JRunner application, which we need to read the NAND of the Xbox 360 and flash Xell. And you also need the drivers for the JR-Programmer. The download links for all that stuff are in the description. Okay, so now if you have not done this before, then connect the JR-Programmer to the computer. And then you will get new message and all that stuff. But what you do now is you go to Start and Control Panel, it's right over here. And in the Control Panel you go to System, and in System you go to the Device Manager. And now somewhere in the Device Manager you will see JR-Programmer and this little yellow triangle. That means it is not installed. Now you do a right click and go to Update Driver Software. Then you go to Browse My Computer and then point to the folder which contains the drivers. So for me, the driver folder is on the desktop, so this is why I choose this folder here. Press the OK button, press Next, and here you go to install this driver software anyway. And then boom, the JR-Programmer is installed and ready to use with the JRunner application. Okay, so when the driver software is installed correctly, you can go out of the Device Manager, then enter the JRunner folder and start the JRunner application. On Windows Vista 7 or 8, be sure to run it as administrator, so do a right click on the JRunner application and go to Run as Administrator. Okay, then wait for it to load up and it should automatically detect your JR-Programmer. Okay, what we will do now is we will read the NAND out of the Xbox 360. And therefore you go to read NAND, and left from read NAND you will see a number, and here you enter at least 2. So here you get 2 NAND dumps and you can compare them. So if there's a failure, you won't fuck up your Xbox 360. Then you hit the read NAND button and now it should automatically detect your Xbox 360 mainboard. If not, you have to choose it here on the right side. So here it says ZEPHYR and now it starts to read the NAND. And this takes about 4 minutes for each dump, so get yourself a coffee and enjoy the view. Okay, when the NAND dumps are complete, it should say comparing and NANDs are the same, so this is good. And if you go to bad blocks, you should see no bad blocks, and then everything was successful. Now you should see the output folder, and in this output folder you should see your NAND dump 1 and 2. And now make a new folder, call it backup, and make a copy of your NAND dumps. So be sure not to lose your NAND dumps, because if anything goes wrong, you can flash back your NAND dumps and then you have your Xbox 360 in stock mode again. So the best would be to burn it to a CD and hide it in a safe place. When you've done that, go back to the JRunner application and now create a Xell reloaded image. Therefore you have to choose JTAG, Alt Clamp if you're using the Alt Clamp, and R-JTAG right over here. Also make sure that your correct motherboard is here in this window. And then you just go to the Create Xell Reloaded button and press it, and then it should create a Xell Reloaded image. When it is created, you can also flash it. Therefore you go to Write Xell Reloaded, it's here on the top, and then Xell Reloaded will be written to the NAND of the Xbox 360, and after it is complete, you can turn off your Xbox 360 and connect it to the TV, because now it's time to turn it on and get our CPU key. So now before you start your Xbox 360, you have to remove the yellow tape from the switch box on the R-JTAG chip. Now you have to set switch 7 and 8 to the correct position for your mainboard. You can find that in the description. For my ZEPHYR, it's 7 and 8 off. Switch 1 to 6 can be used if your console does not boot up or you get red ring of death with 0021 error code. Only set one of the 6 switches to on at one time and see if it boots up. You can also find the recommended position for the switches in the description. And when you have found the correct dip settings, then you can turn on your console and then it should boot up and say Xell Reloaded. And fuck yeah, this is the first step to get a working R-JTAG console. If you can see the screen, then be sure that everything was successful. And what you have to do now is grab your smartphone or a digital camera, and then you go to the screen of your TV and you have to take a photo of your CPU key. And this is really important because you need the CPU key to create a working freeboot image. So be sure to make a photo and don't lose it. So put it to your backup folder or something, and then you have everything to R-JTAG your Xbox 360 and create a freeboot image. Okay, so we're now at the end of this video. It's quite late now and I have to go to sleep. But in the next part, I will show you how to create and flash a freeboot image. And this will also be the last part. We will reassemble the Xbox 360 and I will also show you how to tweak your R-JTAG chip to get better boot times. Okay, so we're now at the end of this video. I hope you enjoyed it. If you have questions, just feel free to ask and leave a comment under this video and I will try to reply as soon as possible. So as always guys, thanks for watching and I hope to see you again in my next videos. Bye bye.